Hey everyone, this is our last video on simplifying rational expressions. And I just want to show you an example that you may come across. So just like in our other questions, you're supposed to factor the numerator completely and factor the denominator. So our numerator 4 minus x squared is the difference of perfect squares. So it factors into 2 plus x and 2 minus x. And our denominator is a factorable trinomial, and it factors into x plus 5 and x minus 2. And so what you'll look at and you'll notice, you'll say, well, none of these have same or common factor in the numerator and in the denominator. But if you look here, right, one of our factors, the factors, they are the same, but the signs are what's different. And so in order to cancel them out, I need to try and factor something out. And so what you can do is you can actually look at this second term in the numerator and you can factor out a -1. And so if I factor out a -1 from here, it changes this the same as multiplying by a -1, except in this case, you're factoring it out, right? So it gets written on the outside. And so what gets written on the inside are the same terms, but the signs have changed. So, and if you want to check it, you just distribute it back, right? -1 times -2 plus x, it gives you 2 minus x. So it does give you that same expression. So I'm going to factor that piece out, and I'm going to keep that first term here. And what goes in the denominator will stay the same. I didn't do anything to my denominator. And so now these two terms, I'm going to circle them so you can see them, are the same. Remember, addition is commutative. So -2 plus x is the same thing as x minus 2, right? The terms can move as long as the sign stays with them. So I technically now have two terms that are alike and can cancel. And so what's left for me, I still have my negative on the outside, and I have 2 plus x that's still on the numerator, and I have x plus 5, which is on the denominator. And if we're talking about simplifying, we always have to talk about, well, over what domain, what are the values of x that we can use? And so you go back to your factored form, and you're just looking at that factored form in the denominator. So which of these values can't I use? They're the values that are going to make that denominator equal to 0. And so just like when you factor and solve, technically you're solving that denominator. You're solving to see what values of x will give me a 0 result. And so here's x plus 5 equals 0, so x is -5, and x minus 2 equals 0, so x is 2. So your domain are all real values of x, except or excluding x equals -5 and x equals 2. Okay, so we're always going to talk about that domain when we talk about simplifying, because we need to know, well, what values of x can we not use?